Hi Jack, how are you doing today? You already have a couple new friends this weekend? Yeah, it seems like we're still on with those people that they're gonna come pick up May, our heifer right here, our Holstein, and we're gonna trade her for 2 bottle calves. And it seems like we're gonna get 1 bull and 1 heifer. Although that's kind of unclear. I need to talk to those people a little bit more, but we're gonna be getting some Angus Hereford crosses, which they'd be meat cows, and that's what we want because we already have some dairy cows. We have Daisy here. Hopefully she'll have a calf next year. We can start milking her. But yeah, we want some meat cows. So yeah, last night we were actually over at another couple's house that just moved here from Idaho a couple months ago. And as you may or may not know, oh man, yeah, there's no water. That's okay. There was a ton of rain last night, so I'm kind of surprised that there's no water in the stream, but I think it probably will fill back up, you know, within the next month or 2. So I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, anyway, as you may or may not know, we're not from Kansas. I'm originally from Utah. And after getting married, we ended up moving to Arizona, and we lived there for a few years. We were in Texas when I was in the Army. That was only for 1 enlistment, so that was for 3.5 years. Then we went back to Arizona, and then we kind of got inspiration, and we moved to Kansas. And you know, just because the housing market is like so much cheaper here, and you get so much more for your money. Okay, I'm going to tell you, this property that we got, which is less than 2 acres, we got it's just a little bit under 2 acres. We got it for the low 100,000s, and we qualified for a lot more, but that's a long story for another time. We settled on this home, and we're so happy that we did. We have a house, we have a 2-car garage, which has 2 workshops. One of the workshops we're actually using as a chicken coop. And then we have a big kind of shed / barn back there, and we have like a normal shed. So there's just like so much that comes with this house for such a low price that we couldn't find the same thing for the same price back in, you know, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Montana. I'm sure some of you are already aware of that, just how crazy the home prices are out west. But they are really good here in the Midwest. If you look in Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Arkansas, Oklahoma, even down in Texas, like, you're gonna find some really good deals. So the main thing I actually wanted to talk about was, I think I've noticed kind of a pattern or something that's going on. I think that people are actually migrating from, well, first, I don't really need to tell you this, but there's all these people moving out of California, because California is the absolute worst when it comes to home prices. Is super expensive in California. So a lot of them are moving to the western states, and I think in turn a lot of people in the western states are actually coming this way toward the heartland. And I find that very interesting. When we decided to look at Missouri and Kansas, I was like, wow, you know what, we'll be moving in closer to where New Jerusalem is probably going to be. And I say probably just because some people think that New Jerusalem is actually Salt Lake City. I don't really tend to agree with that. I think it will be in Jackson County, Missouri. But I've noticed not only this other couple in the ward that have moved here, but I've talked to others, and I think there is a migration of sorts, moving people in toward the heartland. And a lot of it probably is prices for homes. It's just kind of crazy how things are right now, but you just have to wonder if maybe the Lord has a hand in that, if he's trying to move people in toward the heartland. You know, we all know that there's not going to be like a call or an announcement from the prophet that like, hey, everybody in Utah move to Missouri. You know, that's not going to happen. And furthermore, the prophet said that the gathering place for Zion is wherever you live. So the gathering place for Brazilian saints is in Brazil. The gathering place for Ukrainian saints is in Ukraine, and so forth. But I'm not so sure that means that that there's not going to be a migration toward Missouri. You know, and it is happening right now, I think, kind of unofficially, just kind of as people are inspired to move. Oh yeah, there was another LDS couple that we knew from, that we met in Fort Hood. He was a captain, and he was in our ward. I was just a specialist. That's a junior soldier. But we got to know them, and he was actually in the... Jeez. My girls never close this. Yeah, he was in the bishopric in the ward that we were in Fort Hood. And then he got out of the Army about the same time that I did. They moved to Utah. And then they just felt the call. In fact, we kind of inspired them a little bit, because I share a lot of our homesteading stuff on Facebook. Oh, look at that. Sorry, look at that. The guineas are out. If you've seen my previous videos, I was wondering if these guys were gonna, like, how long it would take for them to, like, come outside and spend time out here, and there they are. We left the chicken coop open yesterday, like, you know, so everyone could get out. And I didn't know if they really got out. Well, I know that they did, because at nighttime when one of my girls came to close up the chicken coop, she said that the guineas were out here, that like they didn't know to go back in the chicken coop, I guess. But yeah, look at them. There they are. They're hanging around here. It looks like they've assimilated into the flock. That's really cool. Don't worry about that water. I'm going to change it out after this video. This and then that, like, oil pan over there, that's what the ducks use to swim in, and I'm going to fill those up. It gets dirty every single day, so I change it out every day. So, yeah, yeah, that couple from the Army, they watched our Facebook, and they said that it helped inspire them to move to Arkansas, which they were initially going to go there, but then plans changed, and then they ended up going to Missouri, and that's where they are right now. So, you know, let me know in the comments below if you've noticed that too, or if you have any thoughts on that. Let me know if you think that the Lord is doing what I think that he is, moving people in toward the heartland. I really do think that it's happening, and I think that's probably another sign of the times, you know. So anyway, I just thought that that was really interesting. Yeah, this couple that moved in from Idaho, they're really cool. We really enjoy spending time with them. Had a really good time last night. We went over there at 5 and then ended staying there till like midnight, which I was not expecting. And I didn't see in the forecast that there was a storm, and like as we were leaving, it was just like I was actually really scared. You know, there wasn't a tornado warning, but like it was coming down heavy, and the winds were really strong, and there was a lot of lightning. So, but we made it home okay. And the storm actually did come down south where we are. They're only like 20 minutes away. Our ward boundaries are like really, really big. It covers a really large area. You know, it takes us 45 minutes to get to church, and for them it takes a little bit longer. It's more like closer to an hour. But it's not really that big of a deal, you know. That was one thing I was worried about when we moved here, you know, because we don't, I live in a small town. We don't have, you know, Walmart or Target or Best Buy or, you know, stuff like that. We do have a McDonald's, but that's like it. We do have 2 small like grocery stores, and they are small, and the prices are a little bit higher, but it's not a big deal. Me and my wife, we like to drive anyway, so you know, whenever we need to go to one of those places, like we have 4 different places that we can go. We can drive an hour into Wichita, or we can go to Enid, Oklahoma, and that's about an hour away. There's also Alva, Oklahoma, and that's like 50 minutes away. And then there's Wellington, Kansas, and that's 45 minutes away, and that's where we go to like Walmart. All those places have farm stores, so whenever we need to get feed, well, sometimes we get it here in town. Like you can get feed at the farmers co-op, like at the grain elevator. They have like bags of feed of like, you know, stuff like Purina and stuff like that. And then there's also another farm store here in town, and sometimes we go there. It just depends on like what we're doing, if we're running errands. So we get our feed from all over the place, but it really is not a big deal that these places are far away, because we like to drive. It gives me and my wife really good quality time. We always used to drive back in like Arizona anyway for like hours, you know. So we realize that it's not that much of a difference coming here to Kansas. And if money's a little bit short, then we'll just kind of like consolidate our trips and just go like maybe once a week into town, and it all works out just fine. So if you're thinking about moving to the country or moving to a small town and you're worried about that, I would not be. Well, I guess it depends on where you move and how remote it is, but even then, I don't think it's like a really big deal. Yet you have to realize there's people that live wherever you're considering moving, and there's a way to make things work out. And people in the country, they still go to malls and they still go to the big chain stores. You know, like, you know, I don't think you need to go to those places every single day, right? Probably just like a couple times a week. And if you're in the country, like, it works out just fine. So, you know, I would encourage you to think about moving to the heartland, just because you will save money. It'll help you stay, it'll help you save money, and it could help you be debt free. With that money that you're saving, you can use that extra money to pay off debt, or you can pay off your home, you know, quicker, which is part of my retirement plan. I'm self-employed. I don't have a 401k, but I know it's going to be important for me to, by the time I retire, to have the house paid off. And with a house that's in the low 100,000s, like, that's going to be nothing, right? So it's actually a really big blessing. No, the house is a little bit funky, like the layout inside. It's definitely not a modern home, but that's okay because it's comfy. It fits my whole family. And because it's smaller, we actually, we spend more time together because it's not as big. There's less opportunity for just everyone being separated. So that's actually kind of a blessing to have a smaller home. But the outside, I think the outside looks pretty nice, and we're doing some remodeling and stuff inside, and we're gonna make it into just a nice little cozy home. And we have all this land, which is actually a pretty big deal to me. Ow. Like I see people that live in like HOA communities, and you'll see how they decorate their home. And right now, for a while now, it's been pretty popular to like put up like little things in your house, like farmhouse or farm fresh market or whatever, and like do all this like rustic stuff. And after moving here, I just think that it's so funny because it's like that's like the furthest thing from being rustic if you live in a big suburb of a big town, a big city. Like that's not, I know it's just like decorations, and that's fine. Like we actually did that before we moved here, but after moving here, it's like this is like the real thing. This is an actual farmhouse. And I have one friend, she just got a new home in Salt Lake, and she was posting how like they're putting in this kind of like fountain slash stream in their backyard. And I just had to laugh at that because out there I have an actual stream. Even though it's dried up right now, most of the year there is water in it. And it's just the coolest thing, it's the real deal, And look at the wall right here, this is that right there, that's called corrugated metal. You may know it as like tin roofing or other names, but it's corrugated metal, and I think it's like one of the most beautiful things. And I love how that wall looks. And the thing about it is like it's real, it's not new. It actually, that is like actual chipping and rust that's taken years to get that way. It's authentic. It's real. All of this is real. And a lot of times the suburbs and cities, like they'll try and kind of imitate it or just imitate the aesthetic, and that's fine, because not everybody can move to the country, and the country does have an appeal to it. It has its own aesthetic, and I think there's a lot of people that kind of like, a lot of us here in the United States, you descend from farmers and ranchers and homesteaders. And I think everyone has that kind of like yearning to go to grandma's house or great grandma's house and be on the farm. And they still want a part of that in their lives. And, that's how I felt. I was born on a farm. Not like actually at the farm, but my parents, they were living in the guest house of my great grandma, and for my first 3 years of life, that's where I was. She took me out to get chicken eggs, and they had goats. I don't really remember it very well at all, of course, but it's just so nice to, because like there was my great grandma, and then my grandma, they lived in the suburbs. And then my dad, we lived in the suburbs, and now I've like returned to the country, and I'm doing the same thing that my great grandparents did. And that's a really good feeling. So anyway, I'm going to let you go now. I'm going to take care of these waters, go inside because it's really hot right now. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you like it. Hit the notification bell because I am going to be doing a lot more content about homesteading, signs of the times, the church, all that stuff. And I'll talk to you next time.